So here's one of those interesting kind of repairs that just came in today where the customer said there's something wrong with the chain and the derailleur. Could you fix it for me? After looking at it, it seems like maybe this is an electric bike, so he probably took the wheel off to repair a flat tire and then probably disassembled it wrong, because as I look at it here, first of all, the chain is not even on the derailleur. The chain is just stuck on all by itself. The derailleur, the tension is all wrong. It's sitting up here. Usually it should be sitting further down here. So my sense about this is that he probably tried to put it back together and got kind of lost in the process, which is fine. Nobody says you have to be an expert at fixing bikes. So I think my recipe for the repair on this one is going to be fairly simple. All we really need to do is remove the derailleur for one thing so that we can release the tension on the spring. You could of course do this also by taking off the rear wheel, but with these electric bikes, the getting the wheels on and off is a little bit of a trick sometimes, because you got wires and stuff running to it, and the motors generally weigh a ton. So if you don't have to take the motor off or the rear wheel off, it certainly makes your life a lot easier. I'm looking here at the chain and I'm seeing that one of the links has been popped off, and I'm not sure exactly how that would have happened, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the chain at that link. And if we have to replace that link, we'll just do that. So we're going to go ahead and pull this guy off of there. If I can get it to fit into my chain breaker, it's a little bit twisted, which makes me wonder exactly what happened to cause this thing to pop out like that. Maybe he tried to remove a link from the chain as he was replacing it, and who knows. I don't want to impugn the guy too much because he is a loyal customer, and you know, a lot of the times when people bring in bikes like this, it would be helpful if they were a little bit forthcoming about exactly what happened to precipitate the problem. But in the case of this guy, I really didn't press him for any kind of, you know, evidence as to what exactly happened to the bike. So I'm just going to go with it was probably a tire repair gone bad. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and reattach our derailleur first of all. So we're going to go ahead and re-secure that to the derailleur hanger. There are a lot of cases where we get these in where it's obvious that the derailleur was not adjusted properly and got caught up in the spokes, and it usually will break the derailleur hanger. In fact, that's what most derailleur hangers are designed to do, is to shear off rather than breaking part of the frame, and then you just replace the derailleur hanger. In this case, there's no evidence that anything bad happened to the derailleur hanger. I think our only real concern is just to check over this chain really good to make sure there's not any other damage to the chain other than that one link that got sheared off. And if that's the case, then we can just go ahead and replace the damaged links. There have been cases where I've seen these also get tangled up in the spokes where the chain will get twisted really bad and it'll bend it at odd angles and cause the chain to need to be replaced. So what I'm going to do is just pretty much just replace the one bad link on there, and we're going to put this thing back together for him and save him a couple of bucks. I know it would probably be more expedient to just replace the entire chain, but a lot of these guys, especially e-bike riders, I know they rely on these things for their transportation, so keeping the prices down for them is kind of the key thing, because you know, these are hard times lately and people don't have all that much money to fork out for new stuff, especially if it's not necessary. So we'll go ahead and take that link off of the chain, take a look at the other side here. So we'll just replace the two links and then we'll put this back together again. All right, so we're putting the new link out. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the extra link on the end of this. And for those of you that haven't done this before, I'm just using the chain link tool here to, what we're going to do is push out the rivet that holds the links together, you don't want to push it all the way out. You want to push it like probably 7/8 of the way out so that there's still a little bit of the rivet still inside of that connection, so it gives you something to reattach the link back to when you put the chain back together. If you push it all the way through, then you have to try to get the rivet back in place, which can be a little bit of a chore sometimes, so it's better to not fully disengage the rivet from the chain. Takes a little bit of doing to get this right. I'm just going to go ahead and work that out. There we go. And you can see that there's still a little nub of the rivet still sticking in there, which will give us something to reattach the chain to. So we'll just go ahead and feed this guy back through. And I usually like to leave the rivet on the outside of the chain. That way it's easier to get the chain tool onto it. If you leave the rivet sticking out on the inside or on this way, it's a little bit harder to get the chain tool back in there. So just one of those things. So we're just going to go ahead and thread our chain through here. Normally feels like there should be more tension on it. This chain, or this derailleur feels a little funky to me. Yeah, there's not enough tension on that for it to be where it's supposed to be. So so now that I've had a chance to put the chain back on it, I'm taking a look at the derailleur, and the derailleur looks like it may have gotten the spring stretched out in the wrong direction. There should be a certain amount of tension going this way, and there is just not. I'm not sure. Let's take a look at it and see if we can put the tension back onto it. All right, so somehow he managed to flip the swing arm of the derailleur all the way around so that there should be tension on it so that it can take up the slack on the chain. The way it was sitting, it was not able to do that, the way that it got caught up in there. And I'm not sure exactly what would have caused that. Probably, once again, just user error, somebody trying to put the chain back on, and probably got the swing arm here caught in something and pulled it the wrong way. So let's go ahead and we're going to reinstall the chain. And once again, in a perfect world, I'd probably say replace the derailleur. But, you know, times being what they are, you don't always have that luxury. So this is I recognize this derailleur as one that we have installed in the past. It's a particular brand that we normally carry here, so I don't think this is a case that he got parts from somewhere else, which you're perfectly allowed to do. But this is something that we have installed in the past. So I'm just going to go ahead and reconnect the chain. That's why I like to leave that nub on there, so now it just holds itself in place while I get the chain tool back on it, and then we're just going to press the rivet back in. This is a pretty straightforward job. I think anybody that's got a basic amount of mechanical ability should be able to do this kind of thing on their own. A chain tool is always a handy thing to have if you're an avid cyclist. And you don't mind getting your hands dirty to make repairs from time to time. You're always in need of being able to swap chains out and readjust tensions on them and things like that. So having a good chain tool is definitely a plus. Let's see, the other derailleur works. So the rear derailleur is now functioning properly. We now have tension on this, and you can see as we switch up to the lower gears, it should be able to take up the tension. When you look at the arm, you can see the arm move as it takes up the tension on the chain. Looks like one other thing that he did is he left the electric connection on the back of here disconnected from the frame. Usually there should be a little holder that keeps it in there. We'll put a zip tie on that just to keep that out of the way because you don't want to get that caught in your chain or your spokes. But that's basically it. So to just wrap things up, this was a case where I think they did a guy took a shot at replacing a flat tire and in the process managed to mess up his rear derailleur, but we're able to do a fairly inexpensive repair on this and get him back on the roads. Bring your bike on in if you need any help with these sort of problems. We're glad to help. And until the next time, don't let the bastards get you down.